Paul Dayball from Niagara College, Welland, Ontario, Canada. This video is being made during the pandemic crisis, and this is something I normally like to teach in class because it really is kind of the fundamental piece to designing apps or websites. But I'm going to do my best, and I'm also going to put a number of videos that I found on YouTube that are really, really great, and they really describe things well. But I'd like to give you an overview first, and then you can watch the videos. And if you have any questions, you can definitely email me. First, what wireframing is. Wireframing, and I'm also going to put in mock-up, is really the wireframing portion is just really rapid number of designs being done so that you can get the things out of your head. I often find personally that once I start down the path of designing, I just have tons of designs that pop into your head or concepts that pop into your head. And some of those might be great and some of them might, not work at all. But getting them onto paper is really important so that you can see them and then start making some decisions. I want you to feel the freedom to just experiment with the concepts. Do not overthink it. Do not, definitely don't try to be perfect with your designs. Just try to get them to flow as fast as possible. And you're going to see this in the videos where people are doing a number of wireframe concepts. I always start with pencil and paper. And I know it seems weird, and I've spent, my entire career working on computers. But often when I design, the first thing I do is walk over and grab a piece of paper, get a pencil, and I sketch it out. And it's not because I'm a designer at all. I'm probably the world's worst at sketching. I am a terrible graphic person as far as, doing illustration or sketching. But what I'm really trying to do is get where things are positioned on the page and just get my concepts out. So pencil and paper is definitely a way to start this. Now, what I try to do with an in-class session is I actually have you do pencil and paper in front of me and just, go ahead and try some things and learn how to do it. But I'll let, some people in videos show you how to do that. I really recommend the first thing you do is get a pencil and paper and start just sketching out designs. Remember, all great designs started with failures. Every one of them. Anybody who says that they had a great design right off the beginning is, one, either got really lucky, or two, lying to you. So don't believe that, they just came up with this first thing out of their head. That's not normally what happens in good design. You'll go through a number of iterations, and the first set of iterations should be on a pencil and paper where you can just kind of let the designs flow and let the concepts go. The last thing you do, though, is once you get it down to something that is reasonable, and you're like, oh, I got some good ideas here, then take it to the screen and do your designs on screen. Not saying your screen designs are going to be perfect right away, and when you're doing a wireframe and something you want to kind of do a quick wireframe for your customer. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you're going to do the, kind of narrow it down on pencil and paper first and then take it to the screen, and then you'll still make a bunch of different changes. Okay. But be aware that this is the place to start in design. Before you even do this, though, the most important thing is a list of customers' wants and needs. Sit with the customer. Go through what is the pie in the sky wants they want for this application or website. Let them kind of just put it out there, right? They're going to have a bunch of ideas. And that's part of this whole design concept is you want the customer to give you all of their wishes and wants. Then you're going to narrow that down to what is the actual list of wants and requirements that's needed for this customer. Example, later on in another video, I'm going to show you how I design a basic mock-up of an app for like a pizza parlor or pizza bar. When I do that, I have to get a list of requirements for that pizza parlor. So let's say they want the first screen to have a bunch of their pizzas on sale, and they want to be able to have you click on a pizza and it takes you there and you start designing the pizza or something like that. Finally, you finalize that list of requirements, or at least try to get that list of requirements so that you and the customer can kind of almost sign off on the list of requirements. You want to be able to say, is this what you need? Are you sure this is everything you want? Can you go back and think about this for a day, and finally get that list of requirements down so that you know exactly what they want? This will save you a lot of time in programming, because if you can get the screens designed, and maybe not perfectly finalized, but in really good shape, when you go to actually do the programming, it'll flow a lot faster, because you know, oh, these are the things I've got to get done. I just have to fill it, get all of these buttons to work, or get all these screens to work, or get this kind of stuff to work. And at least you'll now know where you're heading. It's really important. You can always make it better. It can. You will never ever get everything to be perfect right off the bat. You will go back and look at things and think, oh my God, what was I thinking? Or why did I do it this way? But you know what? You have to get through it, and you have to just start. It's what you got to do. So the best way for you to have less of that, though, is to get all of those other things up front that I told you about. Like, make sure that you get a list of requirements, make sure you know exactly what the customer wants, make sure you can agree that, yes, those things are all doable and you think they're practically doable. And sometimes you'll have to say to the customer, I'm going to go away and look at this. I'm going to come back and tell you whether I think I can do it or not. You may have to go talk to other people. You may have to go look things up. You may have to go do some experimenting, whatever it takes. But do all of that up front, because it'll save you a lot of work. Because if you get 3/4 of the way through the programming and all of a sudden realize you've got to add something in, it really makes it tricky and difficult. I have a little a case study for you here that I want to go through. It's a really practical one, and it hit home with me because it was my gas bill. So this is what it looked like before. And I was used to looking at it, it would come in by email, or it would come in actually printed at first, but now I just get it as a PDF. But it would come in and it would look something like this. And, for years it kind of looked like this, and it never really bothered me or anything. It kind of made sense to me. But then all of a sudden, this comes in. You can see here, I'm sorry, not this one, but this, you can see here, I want you to see that it kind of makes sense. I'm getting it. And then down here, it said, I've got, this is my previous bill on my credit and everything. All of this was up front. But the actual charges were on page 2 of 3 different pages. And then you'll notice that they have all this meter reading stuff, and then this is really difficult to understand, and then there's all this detail work. So does all of this really make sense to me? I don't know. It kind of did, but when the new one came out, I all of a sudden realized what they were doing. So let me show you the new one. This is amazingly done. This is very graphic. It tells me exactly what's going on. Now, over here, this one really doesn't quite make sense for me because I pay it on a monthly basis. This 100% gets drawn each month. But it would actually show me what do I owe and how much have I paid if I had a bill going with them where I wasn't paying it up each month. So this would make sense if you weren't paying it each month. It gives me a meter reading and it gives me an estimated and previous. I get that, but it's very small and it's out of the way. And then it immediately tells me how much I used and what it cost me. It didn't give me that long, detailed breakdown. It just says, hey, here's how much you used and here's how much you paid. And there it is per day, which I thought was a really great little thing. So, is that what it cost me to heat my house per day? And then down here, it told me what last year was, and then it told me what 2018. Now, I did find out that these actually don't get larger or smaller. It's just that the larger one is always on the larger number, and the smaller, this size is always on the smaller number. So, if I used half of it, it wouldn't be half the size. But it still shows me that, hey, I used less this year than I did last year, and that's a good thing. I thought this was beautifully done. I'm going to go back here just to show you how it was done before. It was done like I'm sorry. It was done up here, the actual charges and everything, and then this is how much my build to date was, and this is how much my credit was. But you can see here now I actually understand it. This is how much I actually used, and this was how much I got billed. And then over here, it tells me my numbers, my credit. But I can say, hey, you know what? I'm ahead on my budgeted billing. And when I get to somewhere around February, this might be the other one where my budgeted billing is back here and my actual use is up here. But I can actually see it very quickly. So this is beautifully designed. And then over here on page 2, and they don't have 3 pages anymore, they don't have 2 pages, they have more of a detailed breakdown that I can actually go to. But page 1 is all very graphic. You'll notice the colors are very calming and everything, except for this one. This little bit of red really jumps off of the page because they did not overuse it. They didn't make this red and this red. They used it once. And it's really important. If I smell gas, this is the number I need to call, which is really important. So they've made it very distinct, very quickly viewable, and it it stands out up here. The rest of it, all really well done. I think it's really, really good. So I really like this design. I think it's a nice, new, clean design. You can see as we go through, really easy to look at things. So where do I start on this assignment? Well, what to start with is that list of goals. Remember the list of goals. Get the list of required items. Rank all the required items. What gets bigger, what gets smaller. Then quick sketches, pencil, paper. You do not have to be an expert at this. Just draw a box and start filling in the box with some holes. Fill in the holes with some other boxes, or come up with an idea of, oh, my buttons are going to be round. So if you draw a round circle, that means you're going to have a button there. Don't get too excited about how good your sketch is or any of that. Forget that. Just quick sketch, draw, get all of the things out of your brain. And then draw a computer wireframe, and then in the end, do a detailed mock-up. I'm going to put a list of videos that I recommend for you to watch with this, and I'll add some other videos as we go along. So I hope that helps. I'm Paul Dayball from Niagara College.